Well, here's what's interesting to me. Whenever you look at the valuation of any asset, you always have, indicators that are pro and indicators that are con. But the fascinating thing about the crypto space and with Doge specifically is the complexity of evaluating these. Look, here's the anti-Doge case. It's very simple. This is a coin that was created as a joke, right? Literally. It's a meme coin. It's up dramatically. It looks like hockey stick growth, and it's inflationary by design, right? It is the opposite of what Bitcoin is. And the top 10 Doge addresses, according to some coin metrics quoted by CoinDesk, 41.3% of all circulating Dogecoin are held by 10 individual addresses. Highly concentrated. These are some very, very, very negative signs. That said, to your point, do you reach a point of scale on this where someone just jumps in? It's so widely held that someone wants to do something interesting with it. You can't rule that out.
You can't, because network effect generally needs two parts. It's not just people buying it. It needs to have application development. It needs to be an ecosystem. Right? This has one side of the ecosystem. It has a lot of people owning it.
Right.
Okay, well, that's very powerful. As you rightly say, if you can be the other side of that, meaning not the guy who owns these coins, sure, those guys might be doing something, but it's, can you apply this community to something else now? That's really interesting. A reverse takeover chain? Maybe.
That said, the only use case right now is that someone might want to buy it back from you at a higher price tomorrow.
Well, that's most things, really. Same as a piece of art.
True.
I don't know. So I will amuse myself by watching it, but I will not make past comment on it because I don't know. Because too many things are changing. Too many economic models are being completely rewritten in front of our eyes. That anybody who thinks they understand what's going on is lying to themselves.
Yeah. I'm definitely a skeptic on Doge, but I have to say, this space in general...
And I'm a skeptic on Doge, but I'm not going to say, I don't know what the hell it is. Yeah. So I'm just skeptical in terms of, it's not for me. Do your own homework, kids. You understand that this is something that has in the usual construct no value. But maybe we're the chumps, and before you know it, Taylor Swift turns it into her community. I have no idea.
Right. Yeah, 2 points. The first is that there are a lot of people out there, retail investors, who are speculating in this, and they will often say, well, Elon Musk owns this, and Mark Cuban owns this. I can assure you that if Doge goes to zero, neither Elon Musk nor Mr. Cuban are going to have problems paying their rent. They're not going to have to send the email to the landlord saying, I'm very sorry, I'm going to be a little late this month.
And the speculative part of this cycle is now starting to really get underway.
Yeah.
And there will be a lot of FOMO. I mean, I'm struggling with it myself. I mean, everything is going to go up, and it's going to go up, overusing the word, exponentially. And people are going to be shocked at what's about to happen, and people will make mistakes with their money. And, it's all well and good. There is a money-making opportunity in all of this. There really is. But just don't take risks you can't run because you think it's your one chance. It's not the one chance. There's a whole universe that's being built in front of us. You don't need to make it all in one trade. So take the risks you're comfortable with. Participate in the glory of a full speculative frenzy in the middle of an exponential rise of an asset class. It's a beautiful moment in time. But realize that speculation will run riot. There will be the downward counteracting move to that speculation, which is a bust, and then we'll start all over again.
Yeah, to that point, in terms of concentration, and it's not a one trade type of situation. Cathie Wood, ARK-F, the fintech innovation ETF run by Cathie Wood, invested in CoinDesk, 0.25% of her portfolio.
In Coinbase?
In Coinbase, yes.
And when was that? Now or?
2 days ago, when the trade report came out at the listing.
Right.
Well, we don't know. We just know the trade report said Coinbase 0.25%. So the point is, when professionals make bets, they're very careful and very thoughtful about their positioning.
Yeah.
And their sizing.
Yeah. Look, it's the Wild West. And it's not the Wild West because everybody's a scammer. It's the Wild West because none of us have been here before. It's a new discovery of this new world. And it's going to get crazy for a while.
Yeah.
Just don't be too stupid. Don't.
Yeah, in many ways, the flip side of exponential growth is radical uncertainty, radical unpredictability, and radical humility required to understand and participate.
Yeah, I mean, as everybody keeps pointing out, Amazon has been an exponential curve since it started, and it's had so many kind of 80, 90, 30, 40, 50% pullbacks. It's ridiculous. And it's a function of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Raoul, what else is on your mind?
I don't know. We're going to have some questions. What happened to the questions?
All right, let's hit them up. While I find the document, I have to ask you, what are your thoughts on the price right now of Bitcoin and Turkey? Turkey banning cryptocurrency payments, not the possession of cryptocurrency, but use as a payment mechanism. In many ways, this is the Ray Dalio fear scenario about how governments can intervene to prevent people from using assets like Bitcoin on a regular basis. By the way, I should say, Turkey's latest inflation print last week, I believe, 16%. Macro meets crypto.
Exactly. And don't forget, why is Turkey doing this? Turkey's doing it because there is capital flight and they can't fund their deficit. The capital flight is money leaving the country using crypto rails. So they're just trying to stop it. I understand why. It's them trying to reassert their authority over the capital markets. But as we've learned, with a distributed network that is digital and owned by nobody and everybody, it's very, very difficult to stop. I mean, don't forget, China's gone down this route. India's tried this route. Turkey's gone down this route. I mean, everybody's had a go at it. But, you cannot break a network. You can't.
Yeah. I guess it's the Soros quote. If something should have died many times in the past and it hasn't, you need to look at it and figure out why.
And maybe that's what I mean by Dogecoin as well. I'm not joking. If it hasn't died, why?
Yeah.
I could be dead wrong. But
interesting. So our first question comes to us from Bumbu. The question is,
I don't need Doge, by the way. Let's be absolutely clear, and I don't recommend it. Carry on.
Full disclosure made. First question comes to us from Bumbu. The question is, in Raoul's presentation, he said he did not expect to see inflation. Can he please explain why? Is it demographics or something else?
So I explained it in the video, and I've explained it numerous times before. There are some massive waves that stop wages increasing. The lack of wage increases generally means that purchasing power is not able to increase prices in the generalized economy. So what is doing that is the fact that record number of people, baby boomers, came into the workforce at the same time. Then 40 years later, their kids came in, or however many, 70, 60 years later, their kids came in. Basically, we got two largest demographic bulges in all of history in the labor force at the same time. Net result, wages don't go up.
Right.
Then you add, oh, and by the way, you guys, all of you massive pool of people fighting for jobs, you need to compete with those Chinese guys and those Indian guys and those Brazilians. And while you're doing it, while you're all fighting over these jobs and the wages, that robot over there wants your job too, and that AI software. And we're going to make it a little more difficult to you. We're going to give you a massive amount of debt as well. So you're really constrained by this huge amount of debt whilst not seeing your salary go up and competing against all of these people and the robots and the AI.
Right.
That is why the world is so goddamn deflationary.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing now is cyclical inflation based on supply issues, whether it's in agricultural commodities that are in a structural, plummeting, ongoing bear market that's been going on for decades. Metals, copper is being changed into this new narrative around EV because of the globalized mandates. You don't have enough copper. that's going up. Is that inflation, or is that a different demand source for an asset? It's not a generalized inflation. So there's stuff like that. There's mixed narratives. So I think cyclical inflation, of course, you're at the point in the cycle where you'll see some inflation pick up. I do not believe it can stick unless something dramatic changes.